Hey guys, Chris here. In this video, I'm testing the brand new Skoda Enyaq VRS. This is the new model year 24 updated version with new, more efficient electric motors and also, maybe more importantly, more horsepower. This is the most powerful Skoda ever made with 340 horsepower and should give this car now a big bump in performance compared to last year's version with 299 horsepower. And also there should be improved dynamics with this car. But maybe most importantly, except all of that, is the new infotainment system, which is actually new from the ground up. There's new hardware, there's new software, and maybe more importantly, there is now preconditioning manually. I'm going to show you guys the interface in a second, and we're going to be driving to an Ionity charging station, which is about an hour away, and putting it to the test. That and plug and charge. This is the new infotainment system. So the screen is the same, no difference in screen size. Also the controls here on the steering wheel is still the same, and also the small display there is still the same. A lot of people don't like it, but I don't mind it. I think it has nice, clear information, what you need, and also there is a head-up display in this car also. But I've turned it off because, in my opinion, it sits too high and it just becomes distracting. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of head-up displays, but if you like a head-up display, this is a pretty good one. But for me, it just sits a bit too high and distracts from the driving experience. So I was talking about this being, you know, a new infotainment system, and I've showed this a little bit in a few videos already. Yesterday, I drove from the airport in Munich to here in Austria, where we had been at a Skoda press event, and I showed you guys some of the features. But I want to show you guys this more in detail now. So this is your new home screen. And this is completely different. I mean, the graphics, the layout, this is new from the bottom up. It's not just new software, but also new hardware to support the new software. I got to talk to the human interface, one of the engineers yesterday at the event, and he talked about, he's pretty proud about what they've done here and what they've done to make it easier to use. So first off, you do have, your HVAC controls here, really nice and simple. I do like, the layout and the fonts and the design. So you have your heated steering wheel, heated seats here. The car I drove yesterday had cooled seats, so then you have, cool button there, and then you have your HVAC, and then you have everything for your passenger. You do have a heated steering wheel button as before, and that is on the steering wheel, so that is pretty nice. But other than that, the layout is pretty simple. So if you want to go into the map, this is what it looks like, and we're now navigated to the airport hotel. So if I do stop, and then I do search here, it should be easy to search. So let's do Hilton Airport Hotel. Let's see if you can find that. I mean, it's searching, right? You can switch to step-by-step input here. No, I don't want to do that. It's very simple. Let's see if it's here in one of the latest. It should be here. Oh, there we go, Hilton. But why didn't it find it? Hilton München Airport. Yeah, he talked about it being simpler and easier to use, but I'm not entirely sure that was very, very simple indeed. But at least the graphics looks pretty nice. So this is what it looks like. If you press here, you can also, change from the time to arrival, and then you press the home button here again, and then everything becomes smaller. You also have now a menu here. It's just simpler and easier, but I don't think it is, the best infotainment system I've used, but it's super snappy. It's not laggy at all. I've had no issues with lagging. This is your vehicle, your data, so you can do your status here. There you go. You can do your data like your trip computers. Still, in my opinion, a little bit too buried in menus, but it's fine. Maybe just me, who does testing, like to have this readily available for you guys on video. Other people may not even care that much about the consumption. But the most important thing, charging. I would prefer, a physical button down here, like a shortcut for charging, but yeah, they don't have that. So this is our now maximum charging speed at 66% state of charge with this battery percentage. But we can start battery heating, and then we can optimize the battery. So we would be able to get 82 kilowatts at this state of charge. but it will take 46 minutes. This is really nice interface. This is available via navigation system. It will do it automatically. They have deactivated that in the press cars because they wanted us to show and highlight this preconditioning of the battery. So the Audi charging station is about an hour away, so I'm going to just start that preheating. You know, consumption will rise, of course, because it's using some of that, you know, energy to heat the battery, but you'll also get much faster charging when you get to that charger. Another thing I want to show you guys is that we have an assistant button here. So new legislation in the EU for 2024 is that lane keep assist will turn on every time you enter and exit the car, and also speed warning. So you can go in here and then you can deactivate lane keep assist, which I also always like to do, and also the speed warning over here, and then you just deactivate that. So this does both a visual and an audible chime. According to the 24, you know, what's mandatory from the EU from 2024, it's a visual warning, not an audible one. So I'm not sure why they did a visual one, because Audi doesn't do visual. No, I mean audible, they only do visual. So I wouldn't mind the visual one, that, you know, the speed limit sign there just flashing at me, but it's the audible one that is annoying. But again, the human interface guy said that what they want to do in the future is that when you jump into the car, you will get like a quick menu, right? Because it's mandatory. Every time you get in and out of the car, it has to reset, even though if you have a profile, even though if you have an app, it's just mandatory from the EU. Maybe that will change in the future, but what they're going to do is that every time you sit in the vehicle, you can have like quick shortcuts, right? The car will remember your previous settings, and it will ask you, do you want to set the car back to your previous settings? And then you can just, with one button, it should be a pop-up. And if they're going to do that in the future, that's like, I like high-five the guy. I'm like, that's awesome. So they're really forward-thinking, these engineers at Skoda now, trying to make the human interface, the human experience with driving and operating the car as good as possible. So let's take this on the road. I'll comment a little bit about the driving dynamics here in the Austrian Alps, and then we'll go to the Ionity charging station and test out charging. At the press event yesterday, one of the board members who's, you know, responsible for sales and marketing spoke a little bit about the improved driving dynamics of this updated Skoda Enyaq. This being the VRS, it is the most sporty. But what I noticed about this car versus, you know, the 80X I drove maybe a month ago back in Norway is that this has much better steering, and also it's pretty nicely set up, like tautly, like driving dynamics wise. I've just been through some, you know, twisty sections of the Alps here in Austria, and it's just flat, it feels planted, it's sure-footed. And you know, there isn't much steering feel, but the steering is really nice and precise. And also this new powertrain does pack a bigger punch. You know, when these cars came out, these MEB platform cars, all of these, you know, sisters, the Q4 e-tron, the Volkswagen ID4, and this is Skoda Enyaq. In top trim, they only had like a maximum of 300 horsepower, 299. And the Skoda Enyaq in non-VRS trim just had like 265. And for a car that's, you know, more than 2 tons, a big family, you know, SUV, that really isn't a lot, even though they are electric motors, which are responsive. In a day and age where, you know, Teslas, Volvos, and a lot of other Chinese manufacturers have like so much performance, this just seemed like a car that's from the last generation, right? They like made an EV 10 years ago where they were competing with a Tesla Model S with, I don't know, 400 horsepower. Still, they were okay to drive, you know, for people maybe not looking for that performance, but this now, the new version with 340 horsepower, now does pack a proper punch and nice pickup. Is actually quick now. It's quick. But on the Autobahn though, this has the same top speed as the 85X, 180 kilometers an hour, which is a little bit unfortunate. It would have been nice that this, you know, performance version would have had a high limiter, maybe 200 kilometers an hour, maybe 210. But, you know, if you live in Germany, if you drive on Autobahn, having this extra horsepower, I don't know if that really, you know, is something I would spend more money on, because it's just gonna go to 180 kilometers an hour either way. For other places like Norway, or maybe here in Austria, in the Alps where you need that passing power, it makes a lot more sense. But you know, It does have pretty nice and decent performance. And also here, you know, on this sweeper of a road, it's actually really nicely controlled. And I like the way this drives dynamically. It's actually really nice. Okay, this is our exit to the Ionity charging station here in Holzkirchen, I think it's called. Holzkirchen North. Right over here somewhere. Chargers, here they are. So here they are the chargers. Really nice 360 camera here on the Skoda Enyaq. And this should have plug and charge. So let's put the car into park and then let's check what the car is telling us about the charging. It says here 154 kilowatts. So let's do that. Hop out and check if we get that. So let's see. I mean, this screen is completely dark. Don't they work? Okay, that's interesting. So we had some issues yesterday with plug and charge at some of the Ionity chargers. It looks like this is completely... No, all the screens are dead. Doesn't look like any of these are working. So that's unfortunate. So that means we're not going to be able to do any charging. So, I mean, day 2, Ionity chargers in Germany, and yesterday we had some chargers working. Other chargers didn't want to do plug and charge, but they seem to be working, and these are just completely dead. But the light is green. That is really weird. So maybe we're going to go, and there is another charging station up the road on the other side. So let's see if we can find that and try that. So I've driven about another 20 kilometers to the other side of the Autobahn. We're still in Holzkirchen. This is south, and all of these 4 Ionity chargers are occupied, but there is one EON here. That lady, I asked her if she's going to charge. She's like, no, it's out of order. So not sure what I'm going to do. I can't charge, and I don't have a charging card, so I can't go to another charger. But luckily, even though I drove here, it's 74 kilometers to the airport, and I have 110 kilometers of range left. So I still think we're going to make it to the airport because I got to catch my flight, which leaves, I got to check in like latest or get to the airport latest like 2 o'clock. So I have half an hour buffer, but yeah, I just got to go. There's nothing else to do than to just try to get to the airport. Luckily, I think I do have enough range, so it's not going to be a problem, but crossing my fingers. I'm about 10 minutes from the airport, 5 kilometers away, very close, and I had to stop now and end the video here because I'm so hungry. I found McDonald's, you know, every time I travel to Germany, in an electric car or not in an electric car, by plane, but now driving an electric car, I gotta go to a McDonald's because I want to test out the menu here, which is different from other countries. But well, we made it. 40 kilometers of range left. You know, the estimated range in the gauge cluster here based on your driving history is really accurate, so you can trust it. The navigation system also found me chargers on the way, and I think if we chose to stop at one and do plug and charge, it will work fine. But I didn't want to waste more time, and I want to get some foods before I check into the airport. But yeah, this car is great. This Skoda Enyaq, the new updated version, is great. I also did a range test. Check that video out, which is my last video. Pretty impressed by the upgrades to this car, and I really do like this VRS or this RS spec in the SUV. Maybe the coupe is a little bit nicer, but I really like the way this drives. So yeah, car's no problem at all. It's been a nice trip, but the charging infrastructure here in, well, close to the Austrian border in Austria and in Germany, not the best. Not the best. The worst experience I've ever had in Germany is because, well, I'm driving this car on a route. I don't have a lot of time, and I'm just going to the Ionity chargers, and I don't know if plug and charge works with other chargers. Maybe it's that, you know, the time crunch here. Or is it because I'm close to Austria and the charging network isn't good, not as good as around Munich, not as good as in the north of Germany and other places in Germany? Or is it because there's a lot of snow here, it's winter now, maybe a little bit colder than usual, and that means the chargers are more occupied than they usually are because, well, the cars have higher consumption, less range, and means more charging. Because I haven't had these issues at all, like that one. I mean, One of the charging stations I couldn't go to because plug and charge didn't work there yesterday. The other one was full because Skoda are doing this event, and the first one I went to today didn't work at all, right? And then the third one was full again because of the other one not working. So I don't know, maybe I'm just unlucky, but this is the real taste of, you know, charging and range anxiety I've felt in a very, very long time. So let me know if you're from this area around Munich on the A8 motorway or the 8 motorway Autobahn towards Salzburg and towards Austria. Is it usually this busy? Is the charging network pretty bad? And what's your experience if you're from this area? So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.